Well, hi folks, and welcome into another edition of This Week in Pearl. I'm Frank Hutton, your host. Today we're going to go under the dome with Senator Pro Tem Dean Kirby and State Representative Gene Newman. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on over halfway into the session, kind of what's happened at the state level with all the different bills and the stuff that survived, and mainly the taxes. Going to talk a lot about how they are going to put together the taxes and between the House bill and the Senate bill. So that's going to be our primary focus today, as well as the redistricting that the Senate and the House have gone under. So y'all definitely want to stick around for this. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Well, hi folks, and welcome back into This Week in Pearl. Today I'm joined again by my esteemed guest, Senate Pro Tem Dean Kirby and House Representative Gene Newman. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to see you're up and moving about.
Yeah, right. I'm glad we're all on this side of the dirt.
That's a fact.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've been able to have a conversation, and y'all have been busy beavers, as they would say. It's been a whirlwind of activity down there.
I just don't know what we've accomplished. I mean, we've been spinning around like a top, but I don't know whether the top fell over or whether we're still going.
Well, we've gone from over 3,000 bills to what left on the calendar. We had 50 or 75.
No, it's not many.
Well, that was my question. I was just fixing to ask.
On each side.
So we've come through we've come through committee. You know, you've gotten all the bills out. I mean, everything that's going to survive pretty much has at this point. What are you down to now?
I think I'd have to look and see, but I think after, well, of course, we got today and tomorrow to get things out of committee.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, but we'll probably have about 75 on the calendar, I would think, left to do.
Total.
Yes.
They've done some. We've done some. We've got
a lot.
We had about 100 left on the calendar the other day. Mm-hmm. That we cleared off the calendar, and so a lot of them went back because we changed stuff or whatever, and so they've gone back to the Senate to either be finalized or.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have several bills in conference.
So
where we couldn't agree, but we're close. So hopefully most of those will work out.
Okay. All right. Well, let's pick up a little bit in the House. There, Representative Newman, y'all had a lot going on over there.
We have.
you finally got a couple of things, I think, out. One of the things that kind of I wanted to highlight was this education. We've talked about education pretty much since the session started. There's been so much going on between school choice and everything, but there is one that's kind of managed to come through that's increasing tax benefits for private schools. Now, this is actually a positive thing. This is not in my opinion, this is not a negative thing, and it's not trying to give private schools public money. It's not about that. But can you expand on kind of what's going on there?
So this is a bill. This is not a new bill. All it's doing is increasing the amount of tax credits that can be applied for and used. The main purpose of this vehicle is to allow students that have special needs that their school doesn't offer a way to take care of those special needs, for them to be able to go to a private school if the private school can handle those special needs. And this gives it a way to pay for it through tax credits from donations from companies and stuff.
Yeah, it's not the state giving them money.
No, it's not the state. It's nowhere. And somebody else is going to have to give them money, but that company or that individual would get a tax credit. Now, a tax credit is literally just that. If I go make $100,000 and I owe $10,000 in taxes, and I have a $5,000 tax credit, then that means I'm only going to pay $5,000 of credit. So it does take money away from the state in terms of that. But at the same time, it's doing things to help, because a lot of these organizations or 501c3, all that stuff. That I mean, it's not just private schools. It's these specific organizations that, and the names of them slip my mind. I know Baptist Children's Village
Sure.
is one of them. Canopy is one of them. Anyway, those type of organizations where they're helping kids that need help, and that's the purpose of
We're
this.
primarily talking special needs children
It
here.
is for
Yes.
special needs, and like I say, this is something we did. I'm not stealing your thunder, I hope, but
Please
it's
do.
something that we did in 2019, I think, and we're just increasing the amounts. Basically, is what we're doing. And of course, some people are against that, but believe me, the Canopy and the others serve a great purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're trying to raise it up to 50% of the donor's state tax liability is what they're saying. You can receive up to like $405,000 a year total, but that's still, that's a drop in the bucket considering how much we spend on education.
That's correct.
That's really not that much money.
Not
Honestly.
you have people that are adamantly opposed to anything like that going to a private institution. But that's all fine and dandy to say, but if you've got public schools out there that cannot deal with these children, they have a right to whatever services we can offer them, and that's all we're trying
I
to
can't
do.
imagine anybody would necessarily be opposed to that. It sounds like y'all thought out a lot on how to make this work without directly giving money, because you can't by the Constitution, you can't.
Right.
But without directly giving money to private schools in order to allow these children that suffer from learning disabilities and things that are able to get this help. Why is this a bad thing?
Right, well, and so conversely, the one of the issues that some of the school people have is that the people who won't open school, in other words,
Right.
they use this as saying, well, the Supreme Court let this go. They would let money go to private schools. No, they wouldn't.
No.
This is completely different. This is not directly giving money to private schools.
Yeah, this is for children with dyslexia, children with Down syndrome, those type things that need special help.
Yes, unfortunately, we're good that we have people that are willing to donate money to schools.
Yeah.
correct.
And we're all for the schools. So
Right.
Don't get me wrong,
Help
but
with
we're
kids.
also more for the children.
Right. Is it a benefit for the person donating? Absolutely, or why else would you not be able to
Right.
do it? But it's still good that people will do that, Gene, when they have it. So that's a good thing in my opinion. That's a good story, and I'm glad that y'all are allowing that to happen. All right. So off camera, we were talking about you've actually had the dignity and safety in women's prison come out of committee in the Senate,
Yes,
right? Gene?
so we passed that bill. It's a bill I introduced. We passed it out of the House, went to the Senate. Chairman Juan Barnett is the corrections chairman, and he had told me that he would take the bill up, and he did get it passed through committee. So it's on the Senate calendar now, and hopefully they can get it brought up and get it passed over there and get it on to the governor. And you want to know what it does?
Yeah, refresh people about what it does.
So here's the bottom line. It clearly defines what a man and a woman is, and it clearly defines that a man cannot be housed with a woman, with the women, and that there is special circumstances where men can be in a women's part of the prison where they're working on something, or when they're HVAC system or whatever it may be, plumbing, whatever it may be. They can be there working, or they can be there cleaning up, but they cannot stay there. They cannot use the facilities there. So.
Okay, well that's a good thing, and that's a very hot topic in our country right now.
Yeah, and that bill came out of the Senate committee last week and is on the calendar. I don't think we'll have any problems with it at all.
It should sail right on through.
I think so. It's a good bill. It's a good bill. There's no reason we shouldn't pass it.
Well, I mean, it's crazy to think that we need to have men housed with women in a prison facility in the first place. Even if you identify as a female, you were born a man. And there's something wrong with
You know,
this.
the problem is that with, like, you go to the rat hole out there on the West Coast, California. So when they started allowing men to claim to be women,
Sure.
and started going, to get into women's prison, they immediately, within just days, they were overwhelmed with applications saying that men were all of a sudden all going to be women and going to women's prison. That's the kind of stuff you get into with this.
Right,
So,
right. Right. Where does it stop?
It don't stop. It just gets crazier and crazier. So there's a stopping point. A man's a man, a woman's a woman, and each one goes to where he's supposed to go.
And I think the prisons now, for those men that identify themselves as female, I think they're in a separate section of the prison. I don't think they're in with the other guys. So we've already got them separated to keep from having problems there.
Yeah, I could see that could be a problem all on its own,
Yeah.
obviously. I mean, that whole system is just weird. I can't understand why a man wants to identify as a woman. I mean, it even gets more ridiculous. I'm not even going to go into that. But I am glad to see that you and you guys have passed something that really kind of ahead of the time, because all these other states, I think, are right behind you on doing some of the same things, right? I mean, other than these Democratic-run states.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And our president has been emphatic about DEI and getting rid of things like that in education. I know that our higher education board has been kind of rumbling a little bit because of just wanting to do their jobs, as they've been quoted as saying. But we don't need DEI. We don't need all of this going on. We need merit-based, and we don't need men in prison and women's prisons.
Well, since Trump got back in office, things are changing.
Yes, they are, quickly. All right, so.
When you start threatening a bureaucracy to take away their money if they don't do something, they'll do it real quick.
They'll do it real fast, won't they?
Yeah.
All right, so Senator,
Yes, sir.
you have been under the gun for a while
I have.
with redistricting.
He's had trucks running over him for a while.
Yes.
I have, and of course, as we've said before, last June, the NAACP filed a lawsuit, and a 3-judge federal panel. Those 3 judges said we had to redraw some of the districts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the original plaintiff's map that they sent us had 41 senators running.
Okay.
We passed a bill last week. We've been working on this since really July. That's when I started working on it.
Of last year.
Of last year,
Right.
Yeah. Many hundreds, if not thousands of hours have been put into it. I mean, we have worked really, really hard. We have 10 that are running. We had, in the original lawsuit, there were 5 areas that they claimed that we needed to redraw. DeSoto County, I think Hattiesburg, something maybe Simpson, or Covington, maybe the Columbus area and the coast. And anyway, our attorneys went to court and we won 3 of the 5, and we only had to redraw DeSoto County and the Hattiesburg area. And so we've done that. Mm-hmm. And we have 5 from the DeSoto County area running, and then we have 5 from the Hattiesburg area running. No, we take, and Gene will tell you this, we laugh and we have a good time and all that, but we take our job very seriously, and we realize that what we do affects people's lives and their livelihoods. Mm-hmm. And so, this is something I've taken very, very seriously, and had worked with several attorneys. I had all the people that may be affected over some as many as 5 times, none less than 2 times, and we've talked about the map and the areas and what we thought the courts. When I first started, there were 2 things. They asked me, what do you want to accomplish? And I said, well, one thing we have to do is what the court ordered. We have no choice on that. When a federal court says you do it, you do it. That's number one. And then the second thing, I want to be as fair as I could be to everyone involved. And it's really difficult. It's much easier 2 years ago, I was over a committee. This time it was a committee of one, me. But 2 years ago, it was over a joint, I mean, not joint, but a committee, and for reapportionment for the whole state. Much easier to do 52 senators than to do 10. Much easier. You move one street, one precinct, one anything out someone's district, and they have to run again because their districts have changed. And so to get it down to 10, we really had to work hard, and worked with the senators, worked with attorneys. You know, once we got it, so we thought, and I had everyone over that was running to tell them, this is what you're going to have. This is your new district. 8 out of the 10 were happy. There were 2 that have to run against each other. They're not happy.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. They said for us to have a new Senate district, minority Senate district in Hattiesburg and in DeSoto County, and that's exactly what we have. We have 2 new districts with no incumbent Senate. So the courts can't say they're not new districts. They
Right.
definitely are, and they're definitely minority districts. One being 52%, excuse me, 52% minority, the other one being 51% minority. Okay. So we've got that, and we had to change some other districts. One district that was a majority Republican district is now a majority Democratic district, but it's like 52%, I think. It might be 53, 52, 53. So we just had to do it. I mean, we were ordered to do it, and we did it.
Now, of course,
it was difficult.
You've passed it out of the Senate.
We have. I passed it last Wednesday.
Right. So now, technically,
These are concurrent resolutions.
Your concurrent resolutions.
They are resolutions.
And
They're
it's a rubber
not
stamp for you guys. But I guess my question is, the court still has to technically.
Oh yeah.
approve,
Well,
right?
we've still got a ways to go. They have to take ours, and we take theirs, and. You know, they know the House better than we do. They've worked hard on theirs as well. I think they have 4 running, where we have 10. I can tell you as the chairman and as the pro tem and overrules, being chairman of rules by being the pro tem, we're going to take what they sent us.
Sure.
And anybody tries to change it, I'm going to fight it. Because that, in the Senate I'm talking about, because the House worked hard getting theirs to where they thought it was fair and something to pass the courts, and we did the same, and we hope and pray that they'll accept ours. Once that's done, then it has to go back to the court for the judges to approve. If they do not approve it, either one, then they can draw the maps. Then hang on.
What's the likelihood of that? I mean, y'all have paid
well,
lots
I
of
mean, as
attorneys
hard as
and
we
firms to
worked,
figure this out. Sure.
as hard as we've worked and as fair as we've been, not only do we have a law firm separately that's probably done 10 redistrictings or reapportionments in the past. We had to get it through them once we drew it because they had to see if it performed. If it performed to the court's rulings, then they sent it. I think they sent it to 3 map experts.
Okay.
Nonpartisan map experts that look at it. The map that I passed actually was final map number 14. I mean, that tells you how hard we worked on it.
2 or 3 or 4. We're on 14.
We had like 8 of the 14 that were approved, but I wasn't happy with them.
Got it.
To be honest with you, after we got it all together and I thought about it and they approved it, we can do better. And so we did. We went, we had 12 running. Now we only have 10 in the Senate. So anyway, the map experts have approved this, and they think there should be no problems with the court. Of course, we thought that way 2 years ago too.
Been down this road before.
And 3 out of the 5, they agree. End up agreeing with us. But I do believe that these will sell through. I would hope that the courts look and immediately see that and the House, I'm sure, has done the same. You asked for a new district, you got it, and here's the rest of it.
Right.
And so I don't see any reason why the court should not approve this. If they don't approve this, then they're just not wanting to approve anything and draw the maps. And I don't know why they want to do that, but I've heard that if the courts draw the map, instead of 10 running, we could have 20 plus probably running. So that's why I have to be very careful.
That would be a bunch of upheaval for sure. If the
Oh,
court
it would
decided
make
they
a
wanted to
lot
draw
of
the
people
map,
mad.
There would be a lot of people mad.
Yeah, I mean, we've already had one guy since I drew the map that says he will not run again, and that was John Polk in Hattiesburg. He a really good senator too, and he does a great job. Picky people pick Polks. I'll put in a plug for John. He has Polk
Sure.
sausage.
Sure.
And he's a really good guy. He's a really good senator. John's been there several years and not in the best of health, and hasn't been since he had COVID, to be honest with you. And his wife's having some illness and as well. And he decided it was time that if he has to run again, and he does because the court said he did.
Right.
Because he had part of Hattiesburg. So, but we hate losing John Polk. He's a real asset to the Senate, and he's going to be missed tremendously. But that's what the courts do to
Sure.
us. We're losing a good senator, and we're going to lose another good senator. I don't know which one, but one of them in the north. We have Senator Jackson, who'd been there 2 years. I'm sorry, his dad was Robert. Reginald Jackson run against Mike McClendon, and Mike is a good guy and a good senator. I hate that he has to run. I have no choice. I mean, it
Right.
was a lawsuit. And so of those 5 up there, 3 of them, Neil Whaley, David Parker, and Kevin Blackwell, have new districts, so they have to run. And of course, anytime you have to run, you may have an opponent, and here
Sure.
we go. So, but anyway, I hate it for them, but they're happy with their districts. Same in the South with Fillingane and Johnson and Barnett and, oh Lord, who else do we have in that Hattiesburg area?
One Barnett.
Yeah, well, Juan and Fillingane and Johnson, and there's another, well, it was Polk. I guess there's another, and I can't think of who it is right now. I've drawn a blank. But,
It's all right.
but anyway, oh, Robin Robinson.
Okay.
Robin Robinson, who was in the House and came over to the Senate. Excellent senator. We're very happy to have her. House trained her well.
Okay.
Trained her well. And she does a really good job for us, and we're excited, and she's happy with her district as well. So everyone's happy except for 2, and
Well,
they're having to run against each other, and I understand that.
Well, let's hope that we can put this behind us now and move on with the state
well,
of Mississippi people's business.
Probably the hardest thing I've done since I've been there, and
Really?
34 years. Yeah, the hardest thing, trying to make the courts happy and all the senators happy, and yet still make sure that people have proper representation, have the right to elect the people of their choice. But it is really hard. It's much easier what I did 2 years ago with the 52.
Right.
Just much easier. The 10 was hard. Like I say, the plaintiff's map they first sent us had 41 running.
Yeah,
And,
that'd be a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want the court doing it. We need to keep the courts out of it. So,
Well,
I
the
appreciate
people-
your hard effort.
Well,
in
again,
getting
you're
this
playing
done.
with
Yeah.
people's lives and livelihood and all their constituents.
Yes.
And so it's hard. It's hard. I kind of felt like when I was up there presenting it, as a matter of fact, I had the thought, we're they say the Republicans eat their own, by cutting each other up and all when
Sure.
they're running for office and all.
Right.
And I felt like we were eating our own while I was doing it, but I had no choice.
Sure.
I didn't want to do it.
No.
I didn't volunteer to do this. The Lieutenant Governor, actually, we were in a meeting, someone about a year ago, and they said, what are we going to do about this redistricting if the courts do? And he said, oh, Dean's going to do that. And I just looked at him. He didn't say, I'll have a committee or whatever.
Yeah.
It's much easier if you have a committee, then you can blame your committee
Yeah,
members.
you say, isn't that what did you just get voluntold?
Yeah, but when it's all on your back,
Yes.
it's quite different. But no one can say that I wasn't fair to them, and
Right.
no one can say that that we were not transparent. Actually, we had two bills. One that we passed out of Rules Committee that was assigned to Rules Committee. I didn't bring it up because I wasn't happy with it, even though it was my bill.
Sure.
I didn't like it. There were some things about it I didn't like, and I just felt like, good Lord's going to give me a better way to do this, and He did. So it was really tough. It's hard. And of course, you know how the pro tem's elected. First, it's elected by the people to be a senator.
Sure.
Then the senators elect their pro tem, the senator, and that's me. Well, then I turn around and make them run again.
Well, I'm quite
they
sure.
They probably feel like I stabbed them in the
Well,
back.
maybe one or two, but
Yeah.
you know,
But they all understand.
everybody needs to understand. We're all grown, grown adults. I'd like to think that they would all understand it's not you.
No, it's
that's
not
doing-
me.
that's
It's
doing
the
this.
courts and the lawsuit by the NAACP. But
And
but
we're-
I think they all do. But still, it makes you mad. You just won the election. You've been there 2 years, and here you go run again, knowing you're going to run again in 2 more years.
And
that
I-
election has to be this year.
And I take some pride in knowing that the man that did that job represents Pearl, Mississippi.
Oh well, thank you.
And that to me speaks volumes when the elected leadership of the Senate is from Pearl, Mississippi.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
And of course, you too over there, Gene. You had big shoes to fill as well with Ray Rogers.
Oh, he did, and look, Gene is doing a fantastic job.
Two gentlemen sitting here that basically help shape this state are Pearl, Mississippi.
I'll pay you after a while.
Well, yeah, I need.
You said that exactly as I wrote it.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
I
appreciate
applaud your
that.
effort, and thank you very much. And we appreciate both of you guys doing that
Well-
and getting those things done and the roles that you played, and especially trying to get the court. We don't need the court involved. We need to keep.
We really don't. The people know. I mean, they elected those people for a reason.
right.
You know, Frank, when I first got elected, I thought, I'm not going to fit in very well with some of these guys. I've seen the news. I've read the paper. Some of these people are there just for themselves, that type deal. And one of the very first meetings I went to, I probably told this story before, but it was a gentleman from Columbia area. Is it Silver City, Silver something, in that area?
Silver, yeah.
Anyway, Joe Stogner was his name. Great guy. And he was chairman of he was chairman of transportation. And I was on the transportation committee. And so I went to this meeting, and I'm frisky, I'm new, I'm wanting to learn and all this stuff. And the MDOT did a presentation, a PowerPoint deal, and talking about all the highways and what we're going to do and all this, but we didn't have enough money. And we really didn't have any money when I first got there. We were making cuts, as a matter of fact. And so anyway, they present all that, and Stogner says, now you have my 4-lane highway in Columbia down there. They said, yes. And he said, but you don't have Highway 25 4-lane at that time, going up to Starkville. They said, well, we can't afford that and do all the other things that we're doing, but we'll do that next year. And Stogner says, no, we'll do that this year, because Columbia can wait. It's a dangerous highway, but we're having kids killed every year going up to Starkville on 25, and that comes way before my district and way before. We're here, for the highways for safety, and that's more important than mine. And I thought, my goodness, these people aren't at all what I thought. These people, I suddenly realized that these people that I'm serving with went to school with the people that elect them. They go to church. They're in the Kiwanis. They're in the whatever, a Lions Club or whatever with them. Their kids go to school together. They know these people. And they elected those people with trust and honesty and people that they thought would do a good job for them. And so it was like one of those, like I've said before, wow, V8 moments.
Right.
Wow, these people up here for the right reason, so I am going to fit in with these guys. And so, but yeah, people get us confused with Washington a lot.
Right.
Even though we got great people in Washington from Mississippi, but they get us confused quite often. the people, I wish they got us confused on the pay. They do, but I wish the pay was, but they do. They get us confused with what's going on in Washington a lot. I watched the news just this past week, and a lady from one of the TV stations was talking about the federal government and what they did, all that, and she said, here at the Capitol building, well, she's standing in front of the state capitol. You know, they're fussing and they're doing this and they hope to do this, and I thought, you're at the wrong building.
You're at the wrong building.
Yeah, I mean, when people doing the news don't even know which building or the difference between the State Center and the United States Center, man, it's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
So, yeah, don't get us confused with those. I think that we're blessed in Rankin County overall with leadership. We have good, you know, Pearl has a great mayor. We all know that. I mean, I know he has some opponents, but everybody knows that Jake works his rear end off, and he does a great job. And all of our mayors and everyone, the supervisors, yeah, everyone, the aldermen, everybody, and we all work together. Just last week, I'm sorry to be talking.
No, I'm glad you are.
but just last week we had our monthly meeting of elected officials in Rankin County, and we sat around this long, huge table with people lined up all around the wall. And it's very open. Anybody can attend, anybody that wants to. Very transparent, just like the maps were, and very transparent. And we go around the table saying, this is what we're working on, this is where we are, I need your help. Boom, 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 all the way around the table, all of us. And we have also people from Cindy Hyde-Smith and Roger Wicker and Michael Guest's office, all there telling what's going on and what they're doing for us, and ask for our help and what we can do for them. And we work together in Rankin County, and I don't know any other county that does that. I feel really good about Rankin County and the direction we're headed and the leadership that we have.
So do I, living here. I appreciate it very much. Very much.
Good school, safe place to work, growing. Good leadership. I mean, we've got it. We got it going. And Gene will tell you that we're kind of the envy of other counties. I mean, people come up to me.
We know this.
They come up to me all the time. How did you guys do that? How did you do it? We can't afford to do it. How did you do it? And how come you don't have all the crime? What you know? So yeah, I feel really good about Rankin County, and I'm blessed to be a part of making a difference. We both are.
Yeah,
and the best part in the House is all of us Rankin County guys be standing there and everybody be saying, well, y'all got this and y'all got this and y'all got that. And we got Dean Kirby on one shoulder, and we got Josh Harkins on the other shoulder. So
right.
And now, of course, Josh does an excellent job as a finance chairman. I'm just tickled to death he's there. And now we got Brian Rhodes in the Senate. We've grown so much. We have another senator with Brian Rhodes over in Pelahatchie, and we needed Brian for the reason that I don't know a lot about farming. Even though I live in the country and my wife's family was farmers and all that, I'm not a farmer. And he is. And he understands some of the issues. And we asked a freshman, his second year, you're a freshman for 4 years. So his second year, but we say, Brian, how does this affect the farmers? And he tells us. And we appreciate that. So
he brings perspective that
he does. He does. He does, and we appreciate him. But as far as Josh, gosh, he's carried a load for us. I used to be finance chairman. I know how difficult that job is, and he is doing a way better job than I did, I think. So.
Well, you're humble. You're very humble, and we appreciate that very much. And yes, he does a good job.
He does.
You have as well. Y'all have all done a really good job, and I second all of that. So now that that's off your plate.
Yeah. Now that I've vetted.
No, we're good. I mean, now that that's off your plate.
Yeah.
And we can move on.
Yeah.
All right. So before we end our show today, this has been one that's been on everybody's, from the governor to everyone has talked about taxes. Everyone. Started off the session with HB1. Senate had their own version. Everybody's kind of passed something now. And oh boy, Gene, I'm going to let you start. We're way apart with tax cuts and sales and grocery tax and fuel tax and income tax. What's going on with this coming to you guys in the House?
So if you anybody's watched President Trump, you know there's certain ways that people negotiate, especially with him. He goes hard at you straight off the bat, and that's a form of negotiation. That's something he learned in New York. That's what he does. That's the kind of type of person he is. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wrote the book on the art of the deal. I mean,
right.
You know, if you hadn't read his book and you think you're going to go up there and negotiate with him, and you haven't even read his book, you're so far behind the curve you don't know where you're coming or going. So,
sure.
You know, the reality of it is everything that we do in the House and the Senate is negotiations. I mean, you know, somebody has a good idea and they start walking it through the process, and from that point, once it starts going through the process, it's all negotiations. It's getting the chairman to take it up out of the committee. It's getting him to bring it up on the floor. Getting the speaker to let it go forward on the floor, or the lieutenant governor over there. Everything is negotiating, pushing it through, working it through. Well, so what I've learned about the speaker is that he tends to come out like Trump. He comes out hard. He comes out with big ideas, and that's a good thing. He's got big notions, and he wants to push those forward. That is a good thing. And so that's what he did. He did HB1 right off the bat. That was they had worked on it through the summer, and they came out with it. We passed it and threw it up against the wall. On the Senate side, they had been working just as long as we have, but they still wasn't through with theirs. They spent more time looking at what they were doing. They were waiting to see. I think they were waiting to see some numbers coming through, because we had a real fall off in December, and I think. Senator Harkins wanted to make sure that wasn't going to keep going that direction, because if that was the case, then we were just going to throw everything down and forget that tax nonsense. So, but he got his information that he wanted, and he came out with a bill that it still cuts taxes, it still cuts income taxes, it cuts the grocery tax in it, and it has excise tax on fuel. The governor is in favor of HB1 the way it is, but the governor really doesn't have a say in it until it gets to him.
Sure.
So at this
point, y'all are like $800 million apart.
Yeah, but
total.
Well, whatever we are apart, the thing that's important to know is that there are people that are negotiating. Mm-hmm. I mean, the chairman of appropriations in both houses are working together, and the chief of staff for the speaker and the chief of staff for the lieutenant governor, and they're all meeting and talking about it and seeing what we can figure out, what can be done. It may happen, it may not happen. Something may come out of it. I hope that something does come out of it for the sake of MDOT to be able to get the money that they need one way or the other, whichever way works best. So, you know, there's some things out of that needs to happen. It may not any of it happen this year. It may wait till it may be next year. And you know, you just keep negotiating, and you keep working forward until you figure out where you can get to. And sometimes you can't get anywhere.
Well, I know, like, you guys eliminate the income tax, and the Senate does not. And I know that's one of the things that the governor has said specifically that he wants in the bill, as you alluded to the fact the governor likes the HB1
right
versus the Senate package. And so where do you see this falling?
Well, theirs does totally eliminate it. Ours goes down to like 2.9% for income tax.
Right.
Ours is spread out over a period of years, longer than theirs. We don't have the sales tax option of 1.5% sales tax for the counties and cities. You know, we both have a gas tax included in that. Theirs is on a percentage, and ours is still per gallon.
Right.
But yeah, we're limiting or lowering income taxes, and we're also you know, other taxes as well. But like the grocery tax. And our grocery tax, I think we both are working toward hopefully not having either one of those someday. But as we said, we're very deliberate in what we do. We've had several actuaries. You got to remember that our leader over there is the lieutenant governor, who's a tax attorney. He understands. Gene was right. We were down like 125 million under projection in December, and then we did real well in January. Now here we go, February. We're like last I saw it, like, well, it was 50. I think it's down to 30-something million under projection, or less than expected revenue. So what we're looking at is the economy and how it's changing. We're also looking at well, a lot of things, but
Sure.
We know that it's a lot easier to give people money than it is to take away from them. And we want to make sure we don't have to raise taxes eventually by giving too much too fast. We want to make sure that now that all the COVID money has gone through the system, not all of it, but most
Sure.
of it, we think that we're on a sugar high, basically, with all this money, and we don't want to go too fast and act too fast. We're a little, like I say, a little slower, a little more deliberate probably, but you know, you got to look at it. We're both headed in the same direction.
Right.
We're just they just get there fast. We're more the tortoise, I guess.
Well, and that
So-
makes perfect sense. And I definitely agree with going slow. And I'm just kind of wondering, I mean, even Governor Reeves has mentioned that he may want to keep you in special session to try to get this done, but at what cost? If the revenue is not showing to be there, wouldn't it be prudent to maybe punt this for a year and see where it comes out?
That may happen.
Is that not possible?
I hope we can work something out this year.
Or maybe some kind of small tax deduction just to help out families, and we address it again next year.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of the things that I know the lieutenant governor is uncomfortable with taking something more than 4 years down the road. I mean, he wants to hold it within that 4-year envelope.
And our income tax, where they're eliminating, we're like I said, 2.99, I think, which is the third lowest in the nation.
Sure.
And now there are 16 states, other 50
and if you,
states
and if you
that
just
16 don't have income tax.
Right.
And so,
but if you just take what the lieutenant governor's doing and stretch it on out, guess where he goes? He goes to, you know, if you just take the amount that he's going down and you stretch it out, in 11 years, which is the same time ours terminates, there's no income tax.
yeah.
So if you just keep working it out, it works.
Yeah,
It does eventually end
It does eventually end with no income tax. So, I mean, that's the reason I'm saying, that, you know, maybe there's a way, you know, to do it. He's uncomfortable taking something more than 4 years. You know, there's ways that we can do stuff with bills that you know, that says, okay, if you reach this point, then it goes forward. If you don't, it doesn't.
And I'm going to tell you, Gene will agree, we have some very, very smart people, actuaries and all, and
right.
economists that are working on this.
We got some very smart chairmen that guys that know what they're doing. And like he says, Lieutenant Governor is a tax attorney. He definitely knows that part of it without any question. He's a very successful businessman. He's done a lot of things through his life that shows that he knows those type of deals, that he knows what he's doing, and it, you know, it just needs to settle down and let the guys that negotiate it see if they can come up with something. If they can, then let's go forward. If they can't, then
Right.
Hopefully we'll work it out.
Well, I mean,
we all want to do it,
Sure.
and we're going the same direction.
We're all going
just
the same.
not
We're all
going-
paddling in the same direction.
Yeah.
Even on the federal level,
Yeah.
they're paddling, I think, on the same direction, trying to get the Trump tax cuts put permanently in place and to help everyone. I totally agree with that. Now, I'm not one for kickbacks and rebates and sending checks to everybody. That's not that's not where Frank is.
No.
Even though that'd be great, you know.
we don't need any more helicopter.
No,
money
we don't
right
need
now.
any more. No, we don't need any more of that. But
You know, the old saying about the news, they only report the planes that crash, not the ones that land safely.
Right.
And so this is a big issue right now, and so that's the one. But we've done so many good things for the people in the last few years, and even this year.
Right.
And we're going to do this. It's just when is it going to happen? how much is it going to be? You know, and like I say, we've got people a lot smarter than I am that are working on that, and I think we'll end up with something.
I do believe we're going to try to.
And look, we take, just as they take our bill seriously, we take everything they send us seriously. We're not just against it because it's the House.
Sure.
Because, like I say, there's so many bills they send us, like the one that you were talking about, House Bill 188. I hope we don't even have a question on that bill, but I feel like we always have some people that ask questions, no matter what it is. But I mean, that bill should just fly through. It's a good bill. I appreciate him doing it, and there's so many that we do that don't get any publicity. But yeah, this is a plane that didn't crash, but it's got some engine problems.
I know y'all have to work. I know y'all have to work out in conference how this is going to look, and something's probably going to come out of that.
Yeah, either this year or next year. I really believe that. Hopefully this year.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well,
they do a good job over there.
I applaud you two guys taking all the slings and the arrows down there and staying with it. We appreciate it very much.
We appreciate the people sending us and letting us go do the best we can to do that job. We're, you know, nobody up there is perfect, but the surprising part is when you see us vote most of the time, Republicans, Democrats, and most of the time everybody's voting together. We all vote the same way. It's just certain issues where we get if two people agree all the time, then one of them's not thinking.
Right.
One of them's leading, the other one's following.
Right.
So you can't agree on everything all the time.
I've seen two of you disagree right here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I love my wife more than any man could possibly love his wife, but we don't always agree. I'm gonna tell you.
Of course not.
So
we're all individual. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking a few minutes out this week, to come talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the Dome, and we'll keep checking in on you.
We appreciate y'all having us very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we feel like this is a way of us, you giving us a way to tell people.
We need to throw one thing in here.
Okay.
Y'all got Pearl City elections coming up.
We do.
And everybody's not voting in their normal precincts. Everybody's going to vote at the same place. Yep. Everybody's going to the Clyde Muse Center. So everybody needs to get that in their head today. And
this is not the first time we've done this.
No, it's not the first time we've done it. We've done it before, but we're doing it this time, and everybody needs to be getting it in their head. The other thing they need to be getting in their head is y'all got early vote, you got absentee voting right now. You can go to the city clerk's office and vote right now. You can go if you're old like me and over 65. You don't have to have an excuse. You've got it.
No, you can walk right next door and
right
see Kelly.
And tell them how old you are, and give them your driver's license, and get to vote.
And I'll tell you, Gene knows this as well. Every vote counts, and your vote counts just as much as anyone else's. And we've had senators, I know of two that have won by 12 votes, where it'd be like 30, 40,000 votes.
Right.
And they win by 12.
That's tight.
They've had in the House where they've tied, and they'd have a runoff, and they'd tie again.
Oh my gosh.
And then they'd flip a coin. And so don't think that your vote's not important, because every vote is important.
This is what I'll tell you about every vote is important. Adolf Hitler was elected by one vote. Don't ever forget that.
Right. By one.
By one vote.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what I wanted to say is if you're over 65, go vote early if you want to. That way you don't have to worry about going out there and fighting the traffic or whatever it might be. It might be raining that day or whatever. So you already got your vote counted. And if you're going to be out of town, if you're going to college, if you're going to whatever
disabled,
if you're disabled, whatever else it may be that you're not going to be here on election day, go to the city clerk's office and vote.
And I'll say this: by having it at the Muse Center, the city brings a lot of resources to bear there. Yes. So when you park in the parking lot, you can get picked up in a golf cart that's covered. So if it is raining, they'll take you right to the front door and drop you off, and then pick you up and take you right back to your car. I know that the fire department is out there so that they can, in case anybody has any type of health issues or emergency. So the city cordons off the traffic, police officers there, so it's orderly, and it makes it nice for people to be able to vote.
Plus, it saves the city a lot of money.
It saves the city a lot of money. That's exactly right.
By having
so it's
just
very,
one place.
it's frugal.
Yeah, and we
as
we
well.
can spend that on all kind of things. in this city.
Right, exactly. So it makes a lot of sense for what they proposed and what they've been doing. This is not the first time. This will be, I think, the third time that we've done this at the Muse Center. So I do encourage everyone to come out and vote in the primary coming up in April, right around the corner.
Coming real quick.
I mean, it's coming real quick.
It's less than 30
Well,
days.
But election on April Fool's Day,
That's right.
that's a way to remember it.
I was leaving that part out. But you two gentlemen going to be tuned in to the mayor's address tomorrow night?
I hadn't even.
I mean, not the mayor's. I mean the president's address.
Oh yeah, the president.
President address. Excuse me, I misspoke.
If I can.
I know you haven't been able to watch much news or TV because you've been real busy.
The
With,
mayor,
you know,
right.
People
right.
ask me all the time about things in the federal government that's going
Right.
on.
You hadn't had time.
We're so busy with doing our job
Right,
that we haven't
right.
got time to watch TV and listen to.
I didn't even know he was speaking tomorrow night. So.
Well, he
I really didn't either.
joint
So,
session of Congress tomorrow night, Tuesday night. For those
it ought-
for those that are,
it
when we
should-
film this,
It should be good.
I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it
you.
very much today. So.
We're glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. I
Definitely
am.
glad
I'm
you're
getting
feeling
there. You can tell I've coughed a little bit, but I'm getting there. Flu is no joke. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. All right, we're going to step aside just a second, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Pearl, including voting at the Muse Center. So y'all don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you the city creating its own future. Pearl is located in Rankin County, the fastest growing county in Mississippi, and there's no question why. Access to great schools, even better shopping, and unbridled beauty make Pearl a town that truly embodies its name. And with a truly exceptional team of first responders, public safety is another key component of our success. With fantastic housing opportunities from quaint suburban neighborhoods to gorgeous lakefront properties, there's a place for you here in Pearl. You can't beat the location. Right outside of Pearl is the crossroads of the South, where Interstate 20 meets Interstate 55. From here you can travel anywhere within the state or the country. Or you can choose to stay right here in Pearl or experience the small town atmosphere, community pride, and heart of the local residents.
Welcome back into This Week in Pearl. Great conversation today that we just had with the senator and with our representative. They are really got a lot of work to do to try to get this reconciliation together between this tax bill that they're working on. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out and give some relief in taxes for our Mississippi families. So what do we have going on here in Pearl? Let me tell you, we've got an election coming up, August the 1st coming up. So the primary is going to be held in one location again this year. It's at the Muse Center, the Clyde Muse Center on the Hines campus here in Pearl. Now, what does that mean? That means that you can go to the poll at 7 o'clock in the morning when it opens, park in the parking lot, get picked up by a golf cart, taken straight to the front door, walk in, go into your precinct, vote right there at the Clyde Muse Center, and then when you come out, you'll be able to get back in a golf cart and taken right back to your car. So it's a great way to get, to be able to vote. It's all in one location. It does save the city some money. So it's a good idea. Remember, April 1st, that's where we're going to do it. Clyde Muse Center in Pearl on the campus at Hines. Also coming up in April 26th is Pearl Day this year. And it's going to be back in the park. Again, for the second time since the park's been renovated. There'll be lots of things going on there inside the park. All the vendors and then local music talent and things that are happening inside the park that day. And then that night, Bret Michaels will be performing along with Warrant there at the backside of Trustmark Park, where we've had the concerts the last handful of times. So that's back in April 26th, coming up very soon. It's going to be Pearl Day. It's going to be great. It's a free concert. Make sure you go online to get your tickets and stuff for that. Anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in with us this week in Pearl. I'm your host, Frank Hutton. Y'all have a great week.